2005 Magic the Gathering World Championships. That's the trophy they're playing for. That trophy travels to every Pro Tour every year. It's been traveling for 10 years, and one of these 8 players is going to have his name inscribed on it. I'm Randy Buehler. I'm here with Brian David Marshall, and we are really looking forward to this day. Should be a great day for Magic, and it's all going to start with the quarterfinals of the individual competition. We're going to start with the match between Katsuhiro Mori of Japan and Shuhei Nakamura of Japan. Japan has really been the story of this tournament, don't you think, Brian?
It's been remarkable. They've been the story of the Magic story for the last year and a half. They've just become a dominant force in the world in terms of deck building, in terms of preparation, in terms of dedication to the game. They have an opportunity to have a tremendous weekend here. I mean, they already have a tremendous weekend with 4 players in the top 8.
And Kenji Tsumura has already clinched the Player of the Year title. Shuhei Nakamura can come close, but nobody here can pass him even by winning Worlds. So Kenji Tsumura is now the first Japanese Player of the Year. Will we have the first Japanese world champion ever? Will we have the first Japanese national team to win the world's team competition? We'll find out in a couple hours.
So, Randy, are you a little surprised to see Selesnya Sanctuary in play at the World Championships? Were you expecting those lands to...
Absolutely. Well, like, those of us back in R&D are really surprised that no one caught on so good so soon. I mean, we thought those lands were spectacular, and we've been playing them in all of our decks for a year now, and it's really taken a while, I think, for the public to catch on and realize, but those lands are good.
Well, Dimir Aqueduct made it into a lot of the Flores Blue or GC control decks around states. It was really good for untapping under Hikori Duskdrinker.
Sure, but it's just good. It mana fixes, it's an extra land, it's card advantage.
Well, sir,
it does a great job of casting Celestian Guildmage, and that is what both Shuhei Nakamura and Katsuhiro Mori have used it for so far. Dueling Guildmages in this green-white Ghazi Galere mirror match.
So what do you think about this deck overall? I mean, is this what historical precedent can you think of in terms of Worlds where a deck just came out of nowhere and was almost 10% of the field?
Interesting.
Worlds took 3 of the top 8 spots.
Worlds 98 was really the coming out party for survival living death decks, especially Recurring Nightmare. That whole package sort of came together just shortly after Exodus was released. I think that's kind of similar to that. There were clearly some people that just had that deck ready and to unveil on the world and did so. And Brian Selden won the World Championship with that very deck. I don't know. It strikes me as sort of similar. I hadn't thought about it before you asked the question, but...
I mean, Survival, I think, was a card people were certainly aware of. I don't know if anyone expected to see Selesnya Guildmage.
No, but I mean, it's certain. I mean, Vitu-Ghazi, the city tree, is fairly well known as well. I mean, it's been in Fungus Fire decks. People looked at that card immediately going, "Ooh, I remember Keldrorn Outpost. That card was spectacular." So card's not a surprise. But Guildmage, Glare of Subdual, putting that whole package together into this nice, coherent mixture is really the news.
What's going to be, I think, very interesting is next week seeing how many rolling spoils are in people's sideboards.
This is definitely an excellent. Kill your city tree and all your dudes.
Although with Selesnya Guildmage, that could get a little tricky.
That's true. It can. Katsuhiro Mori is now resolving he's searching his library for 3 creatures, right? Congregation at Dawn. He's already selected a Yosei. And I guess he's trying to figure out what else. What's the normal package? What do you take when you Congregation at Dawn with this deck?
Arashi seems like an excellent choice.
And there's Arashi.
Although I don't, I guess in this case with a lot of dragons, these guys certainly want to have Arashi. And it's a 5/5 fatty.
Sure. It's up to 3 too. I think he only got to 2.
Well, he wants to draw Greater Good. I mean, I'm sorry, Glare of Subdual. So you don't want to know that your next 3.
Oh, did you see that little move? That was cute. He took the 2 cards, shuffled them, put them below the table so Nakamura couldn't track which one was which, and then put them on top. So now Nakamura doesn't know which one he's drawing in which order. That's a cute little move.
So this game 1 definitely seems to be a coin flip to me.
Are the decks actually card for card identical?
Well, let's take a look. I think there's some different numbers in terms of the 3 Glare of Subduals, 2 Congregation at Dawn, 3 Glare of Subdual, 2. No, they seem almost card. It's really the sideboard that's the difference. Different numbers of Wraths. One has a Seaboard Muse, one doesn't have a Seaboard Muse. So that's Katsuhiro Mori on the right and Shuhei Nakamura on the left for the viewers at home.
Yes.
Who might not be familiar with these players.
Loxodon on Hierarch now in play for Nakamura. He's playing a Congregation of Dawn of his own. Katsu has Yosei in play.
Wow. That's 3 lands and a Yosei. That's pretty amazing.
Sure. That's one of the things the Sanctuary lets you do, right?
Right. So the idea behind those lands is that you can draw fewer lands but cast bigger spells.
Exactly.
I mean, it doesn't actually mana accelerate you.
Now, it doesn't accelerate you, but it does give you card advantage in that you effectively get 2 mana out of 1 land. The other thing it does is fix your colors.
Right.
I mean, the rare lands have gotten all the attention in Ravnica, but these cards are commons, and they're almost as good at color fixing. I mean, I think there are actually decks where they're better.
Well, we're talking about roll and spoil. If you get one of those destroyed, though, the tempo advantage is pretty tremendous.
And they're going to save the rolling spoiler for your city tree.
I don't know if I had a chance to after you bounce a land and play a tap land, I might want to destroy that and set you back.
All right.
One of the things that the mana fixing of the what do you guys call those? What is that cycle of lands called? Are they called bounce lands? Are they called guild lands?
I don't know if they have an official nickname. We call them Karoos.
Karoos?
Yeah, I feel bad. We don't have a good nickname for them.
What's the story behind Karoo?
Well, Karoo was a card in Visions that had a very similar mechanic. I don't know if you remember these.
I do remember.
In Visions, they weren't very good in Visions because they tapped for 1 colorless and 1 of the same color, so they didn't have the color fixing aspect. But it was basically the same mechanic. Comes into play, taps for. In that case, we would say 1C in R&D speak. It's a cycle that each tapped for 1C and made you bounce the relevant C color, basically.
So you said let's reprint functional dual lands and Karoos.
Yeah. That's what we said. But we wanted to make sure that people could play the guild deck. So we were really looking for ways to put color fixing cards into the block that fixed within a guild. Right? We wanted to make sure, you can print a rainbow land, but if you print a 5-color land, then it doesn't really fit into the whole guild theme. It doesn't really reward you for playing a guild. But these cards clearly fit right into a guild deck, and they say, hey, play exactly these 2 colors.
Right. In Limited, I find them to be really interesting. I've had multiple.
Karoo needed an untapped land. That was the difference. Mark Rosewater's reminding me why these cards are actually much better than Vision's mechanic.
Right, because on turn 3, you can play a 2-drop and then play one of these bounce lands and pick
That's right.
a tap land, which you couldn't do
Meanwhile, Yoseis have smashed into each other in the match between Mori and Nakamura.
Yoseis, what? Oh, played a second Yosei and
Nakamura played
lockdown.
Nakamura played Congregation of Dawn of his own, and then summoned a Yosei to have them both implode each other.
Mori's hand looks like it's just full of gas there. He's got another Guild Mage, he's got another Yosei, he's got a Kadama of the North tree.
And he's the one with the Guild Mage in play too. What's the Pithing Needle set to?
I don't know. If we can find out for you, though.
It's on Jitte. The other nice thing about this deck, it does get to play Jitte, right?
So it gets to play Jitte and Pithing Needle. Working together for once. And there's another Yosei.
Second Yosei from Katsumori.
So this Yosei's coming out party, all the other dragons have gotten their big day in the sun.
To be honest, I think people knew about Yosei. The guy I think it's a coming out party for is on the other side of the table. Loxodon Hierarch has been the hot card this weekend.
Loxodon Hierarch's actually been a real part of the PTQ scene, apparently, for the past couple of weeks.
Okay.
One of the big decks on the PTQ scene right now, and extended, has been Green-White Slide with Light from Below.
Sure.
Putting up a lot of really strong finishes, and Loxodon Hierarch is a big part of making that deck work against the early beatdown of the Boros decks.
Yeah, it's another card that we in R&D thought was just amazing that didn't really get a lot of buzz when Ravnica came out.
There were a lot of people playing it this weekend. There were a lot of green-black decks that were...
I heard it was up to $30 over at the dealer stand. Everybody was racing in, trying to get them, and the dealers just ran out. So, of course, they just keep raising the prices, and eventually they just start cracking Ravnica packs. So, yeah, it was $30 for a Loxodon Hierarch for the people who needed them. I think it was before the standard day.
Yeah, it was all over the place in Standard. I mean, the green-black decks were all touching white. I mean, that was the amazing thing looking through the deck lists when we were doing the metagame breakdown for Standard, is the new dual lands, and people are just doing whatever they want with their mana. And so there is, really the lines between decks are really blurred. So, green-black rock, is it, do you distinguish between a deck that's running lots of Hierarch? Hierarch was very, very popular in the standard day.
Right. Locked on Hierarch is Shuhei Nakamura's only creature right now. Katsumori is staring across at him. He's now got a freshly summoned Yosei. He's still got a Bird of Paradise. He's also got a Celestian Guildmage.
But somehow he's at 14.
Well, the Hierarch's been attacking. They were trading Dragon for Hierarch, and then the Dragons imploded. Katsu certainly seems to have board advantage.
Katsu never seems quite comfortable no matter what's happening.
He's a little less frenetic than I've seen him before. He's normally full of nervous energy and ticks, and his legs bouncing up and down and up and down. And
slapping himself in the face.
Sure.
Maharu Saito are always, when they're trying to think, they'll slap themselves in the face repeatedly. It's pretty comical. I'm sure we'll see it before today's over.
I suspect that you're right. So Nakamura sends the Hierarch into the red zone. Oh, and then he cycles Arashi.
Kills Yosei.
Yeah, that's enough to kill Yosei.
And the bird, so no blocks there.
Now, why attack first?
Because Yosei is going to tap down.
Oh, sure.
Yosei's trigger.
If Yosei's going to tap it down anyway, well, may as well be attacking when you do that and get in one last hit.
It's a really nice play.
It was. It was an excellent play. So, the Hierarch will be tapped down next turn, but it does get in for 4 damage here, and that drops Katsu to 10.
Shuhei doesn't get an untapped step at all, right? Doesn't need to tap anything. Everything was tapped.
Right.
And he's going to start making guys. He can just he can pretty much chump that Hierarch for the rest of the game.
Guildmage crunches over for 2. I believe it's 10 to 18.
He's got his sitting on
looking
his
at
own Hierarch.
Katsu's hand includes Kodama of the North Tree, and a Hierarch, and an Arashi, and a backup Guildmage. Like you said, still plenty of gas for Katsumori.
Haven't really gotten a look at Shuhei's hand. Doesn't really matter since he has no mana available to him to do anything.
Katsu summons the North Tree. Smashes for, what is that, 8?
That is 8. I mean, he could
pump and deal 10. Wait, why doesn't he pump and deal 10?
I guess he's going to play a
Isn't it
Hierarch here.
Isn't it game if he pumps there?
No, Mori's at 10. Nakamura's at 18.
Oh, sorry. Yeah,
and Nakamura had the Loxodon Hierarch. Of
course. If he was attacking himself, he could have killed himself there.
And he still might pump here, actually.
Trying to figure out what else he wants to play. He plays Hierarch. He's only got 3 mana left over. But if he wants to play the Guildmage, then he's got mana for a pump.
And then he can just chump block with the Guildmage if he wanted to there. If he was, I don't even know what he'd be worried about. He has.
If he's worried, he plays Hierarch, right?
Right.
I mean, 6, 7, 8. He's putting Nakamura to 10. Oh, he played the Guildmage and did not pump. He's leaving mana up to make a token. Or play Hierarch. That's the debate. Hierarch seems bigger than a token, doesn't it?
It seems much bigger than a token.
It's not like their deck's playing Wrath of God, right?
Well, they do play Wrath of God after sideboard. And I'm just checking to make sure neither of these guys have a Wrath main. No.
Yeah, I don't see a reason for Katsu to hold back the Hierarch. It's not dangerous to commit it to the board.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting in game 2. It's there are 3 Wraths in Shuhei's deck and only 1 in Mori's.
Mori's got Seedborn Muse instead?
I said the Seedborn Muse. But I believe Wrath does trump Seedborn Muse.
True.
3 Wraths over 1 Seedborn Muse. So, and then I wonder if I haven't talked to these guys about their sideboard strategy just yet. I don't know if they were going to bring in the Greater Good or not.
I think it's part of the package in the mirror. I think it is supposed to be good in the mirror match. Do you get Greater Good running with dragons? It's just spectacular. You trigger the sack ability. I mean, you sack the dragon, trigger the Leaves play ability, and suddenly you're drawing 6 cards, discarding 3. It's just very powerful.
Especially with setting up your draws with Congregation at Dawn.
Sure.
So you can really set up just a chain of events that pretty much locks down the game for a while.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little slow to set up, which is why the package isn't in the main deck, but once you know you're playing a relatively slowish deck.
Okay, cool.
And Katsu does come up with the same play. He plays the Lockdown Hierarch, takes his life total up to 14, and adds a 4/4 beater to his side of the board.
And looks like we have a Yosei from Nakamura.
Does indeed. And a City Tree.
City Tree.
But not enough mana to make a token this turn. Interesting. Now, what's Katsu's attack? If he drew a land, he can actually pump twice, right?
1, 2, 3, 4. Yes.
But he drew a third Guild Mage instead.
And he has the Arashi. He might just make the same play here that
swing and then Arashi.
Yep. That's what it looks like to me.
Yep. Swing and then channel Arashi.
Shuhei's got more Yosei action looming in the wings there.
X equals 5. That'll lock down Yosei, and Shuhei Nakamura scoops him up. Katsuhiro Mori wins game 1. He is a very happy man. Look at that smile. Wow.
So while Katsu is not, he hasn't played in the top 8 before on the Pro Tour, he's not a stranger to this level of competition. He has a top 4 at the APAC National Championships in 2001.
Right.
And he's also part of PS2.
Right, he's done well at the Master Series with his teammates on PS2.
He's actually fairly high up on the all-time money winners list.
He's also Rookie of the Year. I mean, the year he came out on the Pro Tour, he didn't make a top 8, but he did put up enough Grand Prix finishes and money finishes on tour that he was Rookie of the Year, I think the 3rd Rookie of the Year. He was the year after Babarowski.
I believe it's 2001. The winner of that game was Katsuhiro Mori.
Yep.
And now both of these guys are going to their sideboards. So Seedborn Muse, we'll see if it lives up to the hype here.
I'm surprised there's only one there. Like, I heard the story of, Katsu cooked up, this amazing tech for the mirror match, and it's one card.
Again, with 2 Congregation of Dawns,
you can access it.
You just have access to it. It's definitely, the silver bullet theory.
Sure.
With Congregation of Dawn, you don't really need multiples of key creatures. You can get them at any time, and in fact, you can get most of them at one time.
Are they all in game 1?
Hikori Dustdrinker could also be a very interesting sideboard card. I don't know if that's something that these guys have looked at or not. But Hikori seems like if you could get out to an advantage.
Mm-hmm. And then ice the board.
And yeah, ice the board, and maybe even set up your Greater Good Yosei combo. So.
Wow, a couple updates for you from the other matches. Akira Asahara has taken game 1 from Marcia Carvalho. How does that happen? That's Enduring Ideal versus the Counterspells, the matchup nobody gave Asahara even a hint of a chance in.
Not even Asahara.
Not even Asahara, right, but Asahara's up a game.
Asahara's wearing a really sharp-looking suit this weekend in the top 8.
Yeah, he looks good.
He looks great, and he doesn't want, I guess he's not ready to give up the spotlight, or he wants to get himself into the spotlight before this is over and show off his nice duds.
It's funny. Yesterday, most of the other top 8 competitors were testing their matchups, and Asahara was over playing in a standard side event, running some totally new crazy concoction.
It was a Warp World deck.
Warp World.
Yes, Warp World. It was.
Which one is Warp World?
7 mana sorcery. Take all permanents you own, count up all the permanents you own, shuffle them back in, and then
you get that many permanents. Both players do this and get that many permanents back.
And then you flip over cards from your deck.
So what was he comboing it with?
I'm not even sure. By the time I got over there, he'd been knocked out of the tournament, and just when I asked to see the deck, just shook his head. And
I know Aaron Forsythe has a Warp World deck he's been gunslinging with a little bit this weekend that he enjoys. His combo is he plays token generators. Like, he'll play hunted creatures and anything that gives the opponent tokens, because technically you own those tokens.
Right.
Warp World sees cards that you own, not the cards that you control. So if you put tokens into play under your opponent's control, you get the cards from Warp World.
And what was his win condition?
Well, he had Heartbeat of Spring in the deck, and every trip through the cycle, he would actually Warp World for 20, 30 permanents at a time, bring an Anarchist back to get the Warp World back, do it again, and it just keep spilling